Welcome back to this video presentation called Spot the Pitfall. Objective. For each presented scenario, the challenge is to correctly identify what the pitfall is based upon the dialogue between thinker and listener. Each dialogue subtly embeds one of the 5 common pitfalls. After each scenario, we will explain which pitfall it represents and why.
In this example, the dialogue is as follows.
I want to think about why I keep hesitating to speak up in project meetings.
Maybe you could just prepare your points in advance and speak earlier in the agenda? That might give you confidence.
Take a moment and decide what is the pitfall in this example. We will cover the answer on the next slide. This exchange sounds caring and practical, but notice what happened. The listener moved straight into solution mode. They started offering advice, preparing points, changing timing, all of which may be helpful, but none of which helps the thinker understand why they hesitate. This is the classic pitfall of coaching instead of questioning. The listener has taken ownership of the problem, subtly shifting the focus from the thinker's mind to their own expertise. In a thinking environment, advice closes space, curiosity opens it. The repair here would be to step back and ask, what are you assuming would happen if you spoke up? That question returns responsibility for insight to the thinker. In this example, the dialogue is as follows.
I keep worrying that my boss will think I'm not ready for promotion.
Oh, don't worry. You're amazing. Everyone loves you. You've totally got this.
Take a moment and decide what is the pitfall in this example. We will cover the answer on the next slide. The listener's intention here is warm, but the effect is shallow. This is the pitfall of the vague, liberating truth. The response sounds encouraging, but it's too general, too flattering, and lacks credibility. The thinker's assumption, I'm not ready, remains unchallenged because the liberating truth doesn't feel grounded or specific. In a thinking environment, vague positivity can be as limiting as criticism because it bypasses truth. The repair move is to anchor encouragement in evidence. For example, what evidence have you seen that your boss already trusts your judgment? That question transforms flattery into believable liberation. In this example, the dialogue is as follows.
If you knew your ideas were valuable, what would you say in the next meeting? Or maybe that's not the right question. Let me rephrase that. How would you show your manager you're confident?
Take a moment and decide what is the pitfall in this example. We will cover the answer on the next slide. You can hear the silence starting to do its work, and then it's gone. The listener became uncomfortable and jumped in to fill the pause with a new question. This is the rushing the silence pitfall. In incisive questioning, silence is not a gap to fill. It's the space where neural reorganization happens. When the listener interrupts that silence, the thinker's insight collapses mid-flight. The repair is simple, but requires courage. Wait. Stay silent. Breathe. Allow the question to settle and do its work. In the thinking environment, the best thinking often happens after the facilitator has stopped speaking. In this example, the dialogue is as follows.
I want to think about how to get better balance at work.
If you knew balance was possible, what would you change about your life?
Take a moment and decide what is the pitfall in this example. We will cover the answer on the next slide. This question sounds powerful, but notice that it's too big, too global. Your life is an enormous canvas, and the thinker doesn't know where to start. This is the global focus pitfall. The question lacks immediacy and specificity, so it invites vague reflection rather than actionable insight. A better approach is to narrow the lens. For instance, if you knew balance was possible, what would you change about your week ahead? The mind can picture a week. it can't picture a life. Precision makes thinking sharper and change achievable. In this example, the dialogue is as follows.
I don't think senior management wants people like me in leadership roles.
That's not true. I know for a fact they're trying to promote diverse talent now.
Well, it doesn't feel that way to me.
Take a moment and decide what is the pitfall in this example. We will cover the answer on the next slide. This dialogue falls into a subtle but damaging trap, debating over truth. The listener is arguing with the assumption instead of exploring it. The focus shifts from the thinker's internal experience to a tug-of-war about facts. When that happens, curiosity collapses, and the thinker retreats into defensiveness. The repair is to restore reflection by asking about effect and usefulness. What's the effect on your thinking when you believe that? Is this belief useful to your best leadership thinking? The goal is not to prove anyone right, but to release the mind from argument so truth can reveal itself naturally. Congratulations, you have come to the end of this video presentation. We hoped you enjoyed it and look forward to seeing you on the next topic.